The views expressed are not necessarily those of KSCJ and Powell Broadcasting Company. This program is not intended to replace the advice of doctors or other clinical providers. Consult with your practitioner to ensure the proper course of action for you.
Welcome to When Things Aren't Going Well on AM 1360, FM 94.9 KSCJ. This program is dedicated to your mental health wellness and brought to you by Family Services, a United Way partner agency. Here's your host, Art Silva.
Good morning and welcome to When Things Aren't Going Well. This show is all about your mental wellness and how you can help yourself navigate the daily highway of life. Our show is brought to you by Family Services, a United Way partner agency serving the Siouxland community. Today our topic is trick or treat and peace of mind. Joining me today is Brenda Geisinger, Chief Operating Officer, Boys and Girls Home and Family Services, and Christy Spicer, Clinical Therapist for Family Services. Good morning, ladies, and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, today we're talking about trick or treat and peace of mind. So let's frame our topic. What exactly are we? What are we talking about? Christy, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, so some of the things I think about with trick-or-treating coming up and needing to be ready for it and how do we prepare, I think we have some things to think about for the kids and other people who are going to go out trick-or-treating. So I think we have some costume conversations to have. I also think about, like, what are they going to collect while they're there? How to make the night really fun and enjoyable. And then if you're the person handing out the candy, like, how do you have fun with that and have that be an enjoyable evening for you as well? Because trick or treat's supposed to be about fun, and so how do we get to that part?
Okay, handing out the candy at home. That's a great alternative if someone didn't want to go out and do trick or treating. You can participate at home, greeting people and looking at all the costumes that they're wearing and commenting on that. So that is an alternative. So if you're not one that likes to go out and get involved in the candy hunt, you can always stay home and help out and still participate. Let me ask you this: costumes, choosing a costume. I know a lot of times in my history, the moms always come up with the idea. Here's what you're going to be. So, and they take into consideration a lot of things like the safety issues of a costume. What are some of the things you should take into account in putting a costume together for a child?
So I think, I live in a home that's got some stairs. If you're going to come to my front door, you got to navigate some stairs. I always am scared that kids are going to fall up or down the stairs they have to navigate. So I encourage parents to really think about, can your child move well in this costume? If you're going to want them to walk a long distance to do this activity, can they move well? Can they see well? Or do they have on a mask that they really don't have good vision? And then make some decisions about that. Are you okay with it? Are you not? And make adjustments. Another thing that can really happen for young kids for parents to be aware of is you go out and they want to be whatever the latest and greatest is, right? And you're like, oh, this costume's a little bit expensive, but they really want it. I'm going to do it. A lot of the time, those 3 and 4-year-olds especially are going to get to Halloween night and not want anything to do with that costume. And so have a backup plan for that. And then if that's going to be a big deal to you, don't go and buy them the expensive Halloween costume. Figure out the cheaper alternative. And kids, even if they want to be something that they've seen this great thing and it's at the store, right? A lot of times if you can give them an alternative that's not as expensive and work with them to see that it is still being the character they want to be, they'll be just as happy with that. So you do not have to go out and spend a fortune on costumes.
You can get creative, a good time to, even during the course of the year, if you see something in a book or in a movie or something like that, it might be an idea you put aside for Thanksgiving. In my house, part of the deal was putting the costume together. My wife had an idea. She never surprised the kids with it, told them in advance, and then she'd go off and get the necessary components to put it together. I remember a robot. She had to get ducts for washing machine, air dryer ducts for the arms and the legs, and she wanted to make sure he could move around and that stuff. So you bring up a lot of good comments there. Now, one thing that happens also is that we break a routine, and we've talked about the importance of a routine with our kids. So when you go out for Halloween, do you have to change that routine a little bit, maybe with mealtime hours or nutrition? Your thoughts, Christy?
Yeah, most of the time that trick-or-treat hours are right around when most families are having dinner, right? Which there's good reasons for that being the case of when trick-or-treating starts. But if you want it to go successfully, feed your kids before you go. I'm just going to give that advice.
And you may even want to start the beginning of the day letting the child know this is what our schedule is going to be when you get home from school. Because they may want to put on their costume. They may want to take, all their time with that and not focus on we need to eat. We need to take our time because they can down that hot dog in 2 seconds if you let them so they can get out and trick or treating. And it's kind of laying out what the day is going to look like before it even starts.
And then I'm sure they're thinking they have visions of candy for supper, and then you have to set that expectation pretty early. I'm Art Silva, and with me today on When Things Aren't Going Well is Brenda Geisinger and Christy Spicer, and we're talking about trick-or-treat and peace of mind. Ladies, let me ask you this: How do you reduce the kids wake up in the morning with stress about Halloween and what the day is going to bring? Is that some type of anxiety about maybe what's going on in school or the rest of the day or trick-or-treating? Christy?
I think, Halloween, just like a lot of other holidays, it disrupts that schedule. It disrupts the normal flow. They're excited, though, too, right? We have something to look forward to. And so it can raise that anxiety piece for some kids because it's something new. They might not know what to expect. But also anxiety and excitement feel very similar to a person. And so kids might even have a hard time knowing the difference. Or you as a parent might have a hard time knowing, is my child anxious about tonight? Or are they actually just excited and are looking forward to getting going?
So a great alternative could be stay home and help me hand out the candy. And let's see all the kids that are coming in their costumes and let's see which one we like the best. You can make a game out of this. In different ways to handle that anxiety. What if you don't want to give out candy? What if your house does not participate in Halloween? Is that an issue for children?
I think it can be. It's like everybody is participating and we're not going to and explaining to that, reason why. And it's whatever you're comfortable with. And I think sometimes I myself do not hand out candy. So I put my house in complete dark so nobody knocks on the door? Or am I going to not be home for the whole night? You have to come up with a plan on how you're going to handle that. And making sure your kids are comfortable answering the questions if the question is asked of them. What can they say or should they say that they're comfortable with?
Well, you don't have to give out candy if you don't want to. But it all gets back to how you explain it and your reasons why.
Right.
And there could be some very valid reasons. You got to keep expectations low. I think the kids are coming in already so buzzed and so high in the anxiety and of what they're going to be doing. I think they have to keep them low. Christy, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, anytime we go into a situation and have expectations, we have the chance to be disappointed, right? So if you can kind of take a minute and know that things might not go exactly this way, that makes it easier as well. And, I was thinking about the idea of, what can you hand out? Like, if you don't want to hand out candy, that's fine. Lots of people will hand out pencils or the occasional toothbrush, I think, gets handed out on Halloween. Kids kind of go, what's the deal with some of this stuff? But it's really whatever the giver is comfortable with giving. And that, even if a child doesn't want to go out and trick or treat and you're going to hand out something at your home, let them put on their Halloween costume. Have them do that because that can be really fun for them as well.
Good idea. Hey, we're coming up on our break right now, so continue your morning chill. We'll be right back with more of When Things Aren't Going Well right here on KSCJ.
Let's face it, that happens to all of us. However, the pandemic has compounded all of our lives and activities. Even the simplest tasks seem harder. Hi, I'm Brenda Geisinger, the Chief Operating Officer at the Boys and Girls Home and Family Services. Family Services is a United Way partner agency serving children and families of our community, and we're here to help. If you'd like to learn more about Family Services, please contact us via email, website, Facebook, or phone Mary Pickens. At Family Services, we change lives.
Welcome back to When Things Aren't Going Well on KSCJ. Here's Art Silva.
Welcome back to When Things Aren't Going Well. I'm Art Silva, and along with me is Brenda Geisinger and Christy Spicer from Family Services, and we're talking today about Halloween and peace of mind. So let's talk about the teens and tweens and trick-or-treating. It seems to be that we get to an age and it's not cool, or, it varies by family. Let's talk about that, because, Christy, with your experience, and Brenda, you as a mom, what happens when they kind of go through that phase of their life and Halloween, and how does it affect the other kids in the family?
So I think it's kind of a complicated thing, because you got a couple things going on. One is that a kid can just, decide a tween or a teen, like, it's not cool anymore. And so they don't want to do it. And maybe even the family, the younger kids or the parents are like, no, we're doing this as a family. You got to come with, kind of a thing. So you can have that issue. There's also some thoughts in our society and in our community about what's the appropriate age to go trick-or-treating? Should kids stop trick-or-treating by the time they're 8th grade, high school? Just what's appropriate? Lots of people ask that kind of question. And so I think it can cause a lot of challenges for kids and for parents to figure out what are we comfortable with. And, in thinking about Halloween and trick-or-treating and some of the origins of that, what's interesting is that some of those origins, it was the adults out doing the stuff. So now we have kind of this idea that maybe there's an age limit on it, which I just think is interesting.
Well, this is certainly one of the holidays that seems to continue on into adulthood. And as we get to be adults, we want to put on a better party. So how many house parties have you gone to in Halloween, and looking at the costumes and the prizes? I think it's tough to do every year, unless you're really into the spirit of Halloween. But, Brenda, let me ask you about your kids now. They've grown up, and they were in the trick-or-treating phase, and now they got a little older. Did it become uncool?
I think they always had a desire to go, and my conversation with them, what was the purpose? Was it to smash the pumpkins on the neighbor's yard, or to scare the little kids who are out having fun, or were they just going to go have fun and go get some candy and hang out with their friends? And I think that's part of the conversation you need to have. And then in looking at costumes for teenagers, sometimes there can be choices where it's a little suggestive. And again, what's appropriate, what's the intent, what's the message you're trying to send, and having those conversations as well. You don't stop being a parent just because they get older around the holidays, and setting those guidelines again.
You mean you wouldn't support a Miley Cyrus Halloween costume?
There'd definitely be a discussion.
In October, it might be a little cold out there too, so that could be a reason why. Christy, let me ask you something. Teenagers, adolescents, this is kind of like the same thing as Christmas and the Easter Bunny. When do you grow out of Halloween? And, because some kids rebel against Halloween. We talked about the treats. Unfortunately, there's tricks. Mm-hmm. And what happened to getting the spirit of the holiday, Your thoughts on adolescence and Halloweens?
I think one of the things that happens is they're just not sure where they fit into it. And so I think they need some help from adults around them to know where to fit into it, so that they're not out causing some damage and things like that people then aren't so happy with. So, as a person who does hand out candy at Halloween, oftentimes, if a teenager comes to my door, they get candy. If an adult comes to my door, they get candy. Everybody just gets candy, right? Like, if you come, you get candy. It doesn't have to be anything.
You're going to share where you live?
Oh, you candy lovers. She gives out Godiva.
It's not the good stuff. But help them, if you feel like your children shouldn't be out doing the trick-or-treating, give them an alternative activity. Pay for them to go to a movie. Let them go and have a party with their friends. Give them an alternative activity that you are comfortable with. If you as a parent feel that them being out trick-or-treating is not the right thing for your child, which can be for a variety of reasons. But give them something else to do. And then they'll probably be like, that's fine. You're going to pay for me to go see the movie. I'm okay with that. Or go to, do one of the other activities in town, bowling or something like that. They'll be okay with that too. The idea, I think, about trick or treat night is about having fun. And so helping them find the fun that isn't going to get them in trouble.
I got to tell you, when trick or treat comes around, some of the pranks, and I don't want to advertise them, but houses have been egged, and that's a hassle. The TP we see, and that's a hassle. It should be no fun at somebody else's expense.
Right.
And I think that's a good rule to operate under on Halloween. Let's go have some fun. The water balloons and stuff like that you could do in a crowd, but not at someone else's expense or damage the property. I remember out in Detroit, they had a heck of a Halloween every year where they would burn cars. And I mean, what the heck? Where did that come from? So I think it's a good holiday. I think our community has what I would call a good Halloween protocol. There's a lot of communication about what's going on, what the hours are. Public safety is out there with the police, and they encourage it. The parents are out. I think Halloween can be a great time for parents and kids. Parents can use their imagination to show their children that, hey, I can be a little out here too. I got an idea of what's funny. And I think that's the fun part in a family, getting people involved. Anybody want to comment on that?
I just think that I really like that. It's supposed to be fun. I've said that a couple of times, and working together on a costume can be a lot of fun. I also think about, if you have kids and going in a neighborhood doesn't seem like the right thing to do for Halloween. I know Halloween this year's on Sunday. I don't even know when trick-or-treating is for sure, if it's also on Sunday. That could be a tough night for a lot of kids to then go to school Monday morning. So can you find an alternative to trick-or-treating that night? The mall a lot of times has trick-or-treating with maybe some different hours. There's lots of different trunk-or-treats around where you can even get your candy quick with your kids, so to speak. Lots of those opportunities too, and oftentimes those are not on Halloween night. They're on a neighboring night. So you can research and find out when that might be. And that can be a really fun alternative as well. And sometimes they have some additional activities and stuff with the trunk or treat locations. So there's lots of different ways to celebrate.
This would be a good time also, I think, with parents, and challenge yourself. Challenge yourself at Halloween and your child. Let's come up with something. What's hot? Because a parent can learn. I think you get distant from the kids and what's hot today. You can learn from them. So let's challenge yourself to come out. Not my idea. Maybe it was my idea when you were smaller. Now, let's challenge yourself, because it also reveals what they're thinking, what's hot, and that can be good or bad. And it gives you an opportunity to interact with your child again and kind of like make sure that they're on that right path. That they're doing it for the right reasons, and the understanding that this is fun. So as we go out with Halloween this year, what we're looking for, everybody, is fun. If you go out and have fun, adults can have fun. I know when Halloween falls on a Saturday night, there's a lot of Halloween parties people hold. And it could be the case this year with Halloween falling on Sunday. So, I mean, there's a lot to do. It's a celebration. We need to get out there and have a good time, but recognize it as a family opportunity. If you have a family and you can do this and everybody's there, make it a family deal. And don't put your lights out. Get that candy out there. If you find lights out, we'll give you Christy's address, and you can go over there and get a pack of Godiva chocolate, because she gives out candy to everybody. Yeah, my deal was you got to be in a costume. If you wear a costume, you get a treat. If you don't wear a costume, hey, are you Freddy the Freeloader? Especially with, that's just me. That's what happens when you go to that. What are the rules and what the expectations have been set? So I think if parents are going to get their kids in a costume, then reward them and say they're going to get a treat if you get this. So, hey, ladies, I want to thank you very much for coming up on the end of our show. And I want to thank you. We always try to end our show with a joke. So in the spirit of Halloween, here's a sign when you know you're too old for trick-or-treating. When the door opens and you yell trick or and you can't remember the rest. Hey, we want to thank everybody for being with us today. Brenda, Christy, thank you very much. Listening audience, I want to give shout-outs to Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, Freddy, Jason, Zombie Apocalypse, and all the Halloween creatures out for a thriller of a night. Hey, we're hiring at Boys and Girls Home, so check out the employment opportunities at the Boys and Girls Home Family Services website. Join us next Saturday morning at 7 a.m. for When Things Aren't Going Well, right here at 1360 94.9 KSCJ, when our topic will be family time. It's more than big outings. Your homework this week is to go out and have a good laugh. May the sun shine on you. Peace.
For more information on the services provided by Boys and Girls Home and Family Services, see them online at boysandgirlshomeiowa.org. Or you can call 712-293-4700 to get more information about family services, residential treatment, the Opportunity School, the Siouxland Family Center, and more. At Boys and Girls Home and Family Services, we change lives.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Happy trails to you till we meet again.